On this special 1-year anniversary of Geek Dad Life episode of Screen Geeks, we're going to have some fun tonight, so stick around. Hey everybody, and welcome to Geek Dad Life 1-year anniversary special edition of Screen Geeks. Ralph and I were kind of talking about this week's episode, like what were we going to talk about? And very last minute, it kind of hit me that this is the 1-year anniversary of Geek Dad Life. So we posted our first episode a year ago today. And it's also a cool date because if anybody watches this that knows me from my old Lost podcasting days, it's my 15-year podcasting anniversary from the first episode of the Lost podcast with Jay and Jack. And one of those friends that I made in the early days of that podcast, the first few months of that podcast, was Ralph Oppel, who is my co-host on this weekly show that we do here on Geek Dad Life. And out of all of those years that I have known Ralph, so 15 years that I've known this man, he has generally been bearded. Well, we might have a little surprise for you here today. So let's bring on Ralph to the show. Hey, Ralph, how's it going?
I'm reading.
Oh, you're reading? Oh, what are you reading there?
All right. It had to happen. The furlough has gone longer than the beard could go.
Oh, man. Well,
so thank you. It's completely gone. Everyone's probably like, that's not even the same person.
Now I've seen you shave it down before, but I don't know if I've ever like seen it like straight up razor clean.
Yeah, I did that like a half hour ago.
It is fresh because you have one of those types of facial hair that probably like you're gonna have a full beard by the end of this.
You don't get this sort of double chin thing.
Hey, listen,
my chin isn't as pronounced as you would think.
It's the beauty of being able to grow a beard is as we get older and softer, it covers up this area here. So anyway,
so when we first met in 2006 ish, 2005, 2006
in person. Wait, I'm sorry, we met before was it? Because you let us into Disney, like, was that before that?
It was like days before Comic-Con.
Oh, okay, because
days after
timeline. Okay.
But still, like, I think by then I had quit Disneyland. I think I had someone else get you in.
Yes, I think Ryan got us in.
So I was already in beard mode by the time we met, and because when I was at Disneyland, you had to shave every day, and so this is kind of what I look like every day. So, but you've seen me without a beard, but for those of you watching this is probably drastic because the way that my beard was, like I usually have a beard regardless, and the way that my beard was in the previous weeks is way bigger than it normally is. I usually have a nice full beard to cover all this up, but holy cow, dude, I put on a mask today.
Yeah.
When I went out to pick up some stuff.
Oh, did that feel weird? No.
The mask fit. It fit. Yeah. It didn't have it didn't look like the Scarecrow.
You never got one of those cool beard masks? Have you seen those that like the mask basically like comes down and like kind of ties under the beard for long bearded gentlemen?
No. I pulled my beard up and then just put a tie around my face.
It works the same. Yes. I've seen you shave before, but I don't think I've ever seen it this fresh of a shave before. But still, totally. You're still you, Ralph. Oh yeah, look at that little scar there.
Little scar there. Running around on a Super 7 scooter.
It was called Super 7. I wonder if that's where the toy company Super 7 got their name from.
I don't know. I think it was called that. It was something 7. It was literally shaped like a 7 and had 4 wheels on the base.
Excited to be here tonight, my friend.
Right.
with you on this 1 year anniversary of Geek Dad Life. And they said it wasn't going to be successful. They said it wasn't going to go. Nobody said that, no. But I did want to, as we're starting out, maybe share some of my kind of favorites early days moments from the show. And so let's go to some older vidges here. What about our first episode? Let's see if we can pull that one up.
Oh, that was where we talked about the Ghostbusters score. There it is, right there, top left. It's the score sheet, yeah.
And I'll mute it there, but no thanks.
I think this was pre-furlough, because I think this is somewhere around February or March. So I was still at work.
Yeah, when did Disney shut down? Was it like a week after this, maybe?
Yeah, it was a couple weeks after that. So I'll be like, you'll see what my beard is kind of normally at, I think. Yeah, that's about where my beard is normally at.
Mm-hmm.
That's my work length beard.
Look at how young we were. It was only like 7 months ago. But it's kind of funny, like this is pre, pandemic, like right before, essentially. Look at how youthful we felt, how much energy we had for the world.
Yeah.
Really anything possible.
Question. I just want to throw this out there because I don't watch the show because we do it live.
Sure.
And according to my computer, I look great. But do I look better this week? Like digitally better than normal
quality?
Yeah.
Well, let's stop the screen share here so we can get
Am I coming in clear?
Yeah, you look good to me.
Okay, cool. Because like I after last week's or 2 weeks ago, after that episode, like immediately after, we changed to a whole new internet system.
Nice.
So it's working a lot better than it did before. And I didn't know if when I watched this back and I look bad, if that was because my internet's crappy or because my internet was crappy while we were recording. But hopefully I look good.
You look great. You always look good.
I feel weird. It looks weird.
I like it. I think it looks good. Anywho, let's see some early days favorites. This one was a favorite of mine just because I was in New York for a work trip, and it was kind of like I had some time in the morning, and I was like, I haven't been to the Ghostbusters Hook and Ladder #8 in New York for over a decade. My wife took me there, our first kind of date in New York. And so I was like, let me do, because this was right after the Ghostbusters trailer dropped. I was like, let me do a video in front of the Ghostbusters firehouse. I thought that'd have been really fun. And there it is. And it was a lot of fun. It was basically to talk about the rumored high-C ecto cooler, as well as some of the product news that was being leaked. But yeah, it was kind of fun I got there really early in the morning. I think I got there at like maybe 6:50 in the morning. There was nobody there. I don't even think, I guess there's always fire department people there, but the doors weren't open. Nobody was really congregating in or out of it. So it's just me, holding up my cell phone, shooting, talking in front of the Ghostbusters firehouse, which they're probably pretty used to over there at Hook and Ladder #8. But if anybody hasn't done it yet, going to see the Ghostbusters Firehouse Hook and Ladder #8 is one of those kind of nerd meccas that you can go to. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's also been featured in other things. Like I think it was featured in a Seinfeld episode, if I'm not mistaken. Which I remember as a kid when they showed I was like, it's the firehouse. It's the Ghostbusters headquarters.
I went to the Brady Bunch house recently.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's
pretty interesting. It's a house. There's not much you can do there except stare at it.
People live there, right?
Not anymore. They sold it to HDTV. HDTV went in and gutted the entire insides out and turned the inside into a recreation of the set that they did over at the studio. So there's like a security guard there 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
You can't go inside. The security guard, I found out, can go inside, but only to use the restroom. And I said, what if I need to use the restroom? And he said, "Nah, you're good. You can't. You got to go somewhere else." I'm like, "All right, sure."
All right, brad. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they gutted it, but I guess whatever. It's a prop now, so there's that.
Right.
And then one last kind of trip down memory lane here is the first ever episode of Geek Dad Life, which was released a year ago today. Was
register to vote.
Register, yeah, please do. Was going on a quest, a geek quest, to try and buy a Tron cocktail arcade cabinet.
That's how you pulled me in.
Is that?
Because I mean, I follow a lot of stuff that you do and the stuff you do with Jack and what Jack does, but it's hard to get, like, there's so many things going on.
Mm-hmm.
But you doing a Tron arcade video, I was like, okay, well, I'll watch this one. And then I ended up just keep on watching them. So,
I'm glad it worked, because when I was thinking about the first episode, I was like, I at least got to get Ralph hooked. If I can get Ralph hooked, I can get.
And then you open it up with the Star Wars arcade.
Yep.
So you hit all the right buttons.
But the thing that was kind of interesting about putting this first episode together is, and again, people that maybe have come to Geek Dad Life that don't know me from my podcasting years, I never really edited or did anything video wise. If we ever did anything video as far as the Jay and Jack stuff was concerned, it was always Cliff, a really good friend of ours. He is like a professional, he's a actual editor. He was an associate editor, now he's like a full editor in Hollywood. Edits like legit TV shows, movies, trailers, stuff like that. So he always did our video work. So doing this episode is my first time ever using Final Cut Pro and figuring out how to do all these things. So
it
was definitely a continuing learning experience. But this whole trip was interesting just because I was like, oh, I'm going to get a Tron arcade game. This is such a great thing to make it about, because then I can show video footage of me playing Tron and having it in the house, and how cool is that going to look? So, and again, I had to drive all the way to Smyrna, outside of Nashville, Tennessee. So I was committing to a, essentially 16, 18 hour kind of round trip to go pick up this Tron cocktail arcade cabinet and then bring it home. It was.
But now, if you think about it, it's great that you actually had the opportunity to do that, because now you can't go anywhere.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And so, it kind of worked out because Colleen and the kids were going to visit her parents, and so I had, but it was a quick trip, like 2-day trip, so I had like 24 hours to play with to do this, and so drove all the way there, and it was just really sad because I did this whole trek. This arcade was amazing. But then immediately, like, seeing it, I was like, this isn't right. And I was like, when he couldn't turn it on, and then the guy that was the actual owner of the arcade that I was talking to, he wasn't even there. So I was like, that's weird. The guy that's selling me this thing isn't even there. It's like hit one of his employees at the arcade. And so, he shows it to me. He can't get it started up. So then he calls the guy that I've been talking to, and he's like, why is it not starting? He's like, oh, you got to plug it in with this plug. So he does that, and it finally turns on, but the screen's in bad shape. It's actually, I can tell it's a replaced Miss Pac-Man monitor. I can see the burn in the screen.
The burn? That's funny.
That it was a Miss Pac-Man. So I was like, okay, work's been done to this. Like, immediately. I didn't have to look inside. I was like, work's been done to this. Somebody swapped out the monitor, the Tron monitor, for a Miss Pac-Man monitor. So I was like, that's one sign. And so I was like, well, I need to see the inside of this now. And then, the cocktails, you actually kind of go through the coin door, and you unlock these latches, and then you flip the whole front monitor over, essentially, and you get to see the inside. The thing is, that monitor is really heavy, so you have to have like 2 people do it so it doesn't like just fall over. And then once I saw the inside, there was just a lot of like, it was like a hacked power replacement. Instead of using the original board, it's like this really kind of hacked version.
Right.
Put in some like cheap LED lights to be the little lights that would light up the joystick area. So it was just a lot of things. I was like, this is not good. And I think we agreed upon $1,200, which is really good for a Tron cocktail. They're much rarer than a full Tron upright arcade. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable at 1,200. Like, if I'm going to get this thing back to original spec, I'm going to have to spend like another $400-$600. So I was like, I'll give you, $600. Maybe I'd go to 700. And the guy's like, well, actually, it's not even mine. I'm selling it for a friend, and he wants at least this. So I'm sorry. And I'm just like, oh, maybe I could give you $100 off. And I had to make the calls. Like, I drove 9 hours and I walked away. I was just like, nope,
yeah,
I'm gonna do it. And it was for the best. The thing is with these old arcades, if you're doing it or ever interested in getting into vintage real arcade games, if a bad work has been done to it, it's like a car. If kind of hacky work has been done to it, it's just that much more expensive to get it back to its original state. I almost prefer one that's broken, but at least nobody's tried to fix it yet, because at least I know it'll be done right. And
I didn't know they existed. I never knew they existed. The cabinet and the cocktail, and I mean, like functionality wise, like being able to sit and play it like with somebody else is cool. But there's something about the Tron machine with it being all lit up and stuff, which is kind of cooler. I wish this cabinet had more of that sort of, or the cocktail had more of what the cabinet has.
Yep.
Like the light up, and I always liked the flight stick joystick on the cabinet. But yeah, that's
and again, that type of joystick there, it's the only one they've ever made, because Tron has a flight stick that has a trigger. But in cocktail form, this one it has here is the only one that you'll be able to find. So the trigger didn't even really work right. So finding that replacement part is next to impossible, or it'll be really expensive.
Can I talk about something real quick that's on topic, sort of, whatever?
Yeah.
Mondo this week released a Tron Legacy double disc vinyl 10th anniversary set.
Now, I know you got in a little bit of trouble last time for buying some.
Right.
Stevie,
this is one of those soundtracks where I say ahead of time, like, I'm getting this, and it's like agreed, like, oh yeah, you have to get that.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, this is like, listen, like this is a big deal. Luckily I did get it. It was Mondo, and they were limiting it to 2 per household.
Oh wow.
So like I couldn't buy 2, and if someone in my house with the same address tried to get it, they would squash one of ours. Yeah. Sold out in 7 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So luckily I got my hands on it. The artwork on it is amazing, but it comes in a slip sleeve, which has an arcade machine that says Flynn's above it, right? But the arcade cabinet is the most generic looking arcade cabinet. It's not Tron. It's not a Tron machine. It has 2 joysticks, 2 regular joysticks, and no buttons.
Is this it?
That's like the cover, but there's a slip sleeve that slides in there, and there's an arcade machine, and you see her face on the monitor of the arcade machine. I think if you keep scrolling through, there it is.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, what is that machine? Can you zoom in on that? Like, why?
Isn't that karate one?
Like Battle Zone, or like Karate Master.
Yes, Karate Master. Wasn't that double joystick?
Something like that.
But what are you doing there?
I have no idea. I'm like, okay, so this is the first release on vinyl in like 10 years. And 10 years ago, it was a record store day release, and it was selling for like $60 brand new. And it went away super fast, and this is the first time. So this thing selling out in 7 minutes is like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Mondo was like, we can't believe it. We're going to start working on doing a repressing in 2021.
Okay, that's good.
But it's like, I was like, I had to get it. I had to get it. And that slip sleeve really, really is going to drive me crazy because Tron machines are so specific.
Oh yeah.
They're so specific. And I don't know if there's some kind of rights issue or something where they can't use that machine, but it's in the movie.
It's in the movie. I think it's just
featured in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. That was just
two joysticks, no buttons. Like that blows my mind. God, look at this machine.
It's gorgeous. Now I've owned 2 upright. Yeah. None have looked that good. It's really hard to find one. So this one's been restored. So I know the guy that makes these acrylic replacements.
Right.
I actually bought them for the first Tron that I owned. The other thing that's wrong about this Tron, I can immediately see, is they replaced the CRT with an LCD screen, which is not the correct way. Some people are fine with putting LCDs in, but you do lose. It's like if you've ever played an NES game on your TV, an HD TV, the sprite. The way they designed sprites in the 80s was for a CRT TV that's blasting those 3 colors.
Right. If you get like the Sega collection on like the Switch or something, they have the option of doing that version, like both versions of the game.
Yep.
But I'm excited about that Mondo. That score, that Daft Punk score is probably the greatest, my favorite score.
Mm-hmm. It's
in the 2000 in this century. Like it stands out. And it's the thing is, like, it's not like I'm not getting it for a collector's item. I'm opening it up and I'm listening to it all the time. It's
and it's fantastic.
Yeah,
it is one of the best scores of the past, at least of the 2000s. Right. So I guess 2010 is the previous decade, not this decade.
Yeah, but I think still in the last 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's my favorite score. Yeah.
Tron Legacy is fantastic. Makes sense that it sold out in, under 10 minutes.
All the artwork is beautiful except that slip sleeve cover.
I'm honestly shocked they went for that. Now, the thing is, because they're already getting the licensing to do all the other Tron stuff. So, there's no reason they wouldn't put a Tron in there, because even from what I've seen, they have the Tron arcade game at the Tron Light Cycles, or if it's not there, they have several in a few of the arcades at Disney.
Right.
At Disneyland, I know at Disney World they had several Tron arcade games around.
They did a Flynn's arcade in 2010.
Did they?
ECA, yeah.
Is there still an arcade anywhere in Disneyland? Or are they all gone? Like actual?
I think they're all gone except for like the Penny Arcade, where you can look at like the Nickelodeons and stuff. But yeah, I don't think there's any arcade.
Okay. Disney World, I think at least still. No, they had a really big one at downtown Disney, and then they still have one in the parks. I think I haven't been to World or Land in a long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an awesome set.
I can't wait.
Kind of jealous I missed out on it, but it is what I have a ton of records. I buy or was buying it all the time. But I've just been so busy. I haven't had time to sit and listen to a record. I do look forward to when I get back to just sitting and listening to a record. All right. So yes, the Tron didn't happen. My hope is that we will get another Tron or a Tron from Arcade 1-Up. They did the Star Wars Atari Arcade. They did a fantastic job on it, and I really feel like Arcade 1-Up is going to do a Tron arcade camera. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Man, I don't have anywhere to put it.
Yes, you do.
I don't.
You do. Ralph, if they make a Tron, I'm buying one and shipping it to you, and you're going to have to figure it out.
All right. I'll just cover it in plastic and stick it in my bathtub.
Put it on your you have a patio, right? Like a area. Yeah, it's going there. All right. Let's see. I remember those at the Chris and Pitts in Anaheim back in the day.
Oh yeah, those cocktail machines.
Oh, totally. So I restored a Miss Pac-Man cocktail arcade. Again, I found the monitor had a vertical line collapse. But
Colleen's a fan of that, right?
Cocktail?
She likes the Miss Pac-Man cocktail.
She does, but she hates all of my arcade games. But she prefers the cocktails because you can't really see them. They're low price. Right. So if she looks out into our game room area, you don't see the Miss Pac-Man. Even though now her office basically is in the guest room, which walks right out into the game room area. So She does kind of get a little PO'd about that, but you know what? It's fine. Yeah, marriage is better and worse and through arcade games. It's just something that you gotta live through. All right, Old School Shinobi. I played the Tron Legacy soundtrack so much, I had Jeff Bridges' monologue about the grid at the beginning memorized. It is true. The grid.
Information.
Scott D.
Motorcycles.
I got in. Just jumped on. Ralph looking young, bud. Tron Legacy score is one of the best of all time. Yeah, agreed. Ordinary Joe 79. That Tron arcade is awesome. It is. You know, a lot of people crap on the game. And you know, as a kid, I was not good at the Tron arcade game, so I can understand if you like maybe you're a kid and it was really difficult. But as an adult, I think it's a fantastic arcade game. It's 4 mini games that they get increasingly more difficult as time goes on. Like it's actually a really good game, I think.
Yeah, I would get high scores at the arcade in Fullerton called the Reagan Years, and yeah, I would get like 1, 2, 3, third place depending on who else showed up. But yeah,
it's a good one. It's a good one.
If you ever see SEX on a Tron machine,
is that you?
Yeah.
The thing is with depending on the condition of the Tron is one of the few early 80s arcade games that actually had a separate battery to keep the high scores when the machine turned off. So games like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, Galaga, anytime the machine turns off, the scores are wiped. At least in original form. There's add-ons and stuff you can do to the board to be able to save your high scores. But Tron was one of the few, if the battery cartridge was still intact, would save the score. So your scores could still be saved.
So if 1UP does a Tron machine, do you think it'll also include discs of Tron? It's the same controls. It's the spin. I think we've talked about this before several times.
Maybe, but maybe it's new for new people. But the only difference is the spinner has to be able to pull up.
Yeah.
And which they could easily do.
Yeah, do it.
Because they added
go
ahead.
I feel like if they're going to make like Star Wars and have like all 3 Star Wars games on there, why wouldn't you put both Tron games on one machine?
Yep.
That would, I mean, yeah.
It's a no.
That's when I start thinking a little bit more about getting a Tron machine, one of those 1UP games. If it has both, that's a big deal.
Yeah, because Tron is so much rarer and so freaking expensive. And they call it's a environmental. I think they call it EDOT. And it a complete one that's working can push like $8,000 or $10,000 depending on the condition. So yeah, it is really a hard one to come by. So adding that to like an arcade 1UP Tron and disc of Tron would be huge.
Yeah,
huge. Colleen says, "Whoa, Ralph, your beard."
Yeah, it's gone.
Oh man. Let's see. We got Gizmo. Great job on the Motu Origins videos. Thank you, Gizmo. A little bit of housekeeping. I forgot to say it at the top of the hour. But this Sunday on Toy Geeks, the other live show that we do here on Geek Dad Life, we have the creator of Masters of the Universe Classics, the creator of Matty Collector, the toy executive that brought the first ever movie-based Ghostbuster toys to the world, and among many other things. Scott Knightlick, known as the Toy Guru, or it's his kind of alias, online alias, is coming on the show, special guest on Sunday's episode of Toy Geeks at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Really excited to get his perspective on Motu Origins. Now, he left Mattel, I think in 2015, 2016 maybe, and went on to kind of head up the Big Figs line. I went to Entertainment Earth and led the Pinmates line. So has done a lot after leaving Mattel, but probably his most well known for heading up the Masters of the Universe Classics line, and really, did so much for Masters of the Universe, in between 2000 and the X series in the early 2000s, and then what we have now with Motu Origins. So really excited to have him on the show. And Matty Collector, I mean, Hasbro Pulse is essentially what he was doing with Matty Collector over a decade earlier. So just a lot of things I'd like to pick his brain about. So John and I will be doing that at 9 p.m. Eastern this Sunday. So be on the lookout for that. Let's see. Mariana Chacon. Ralph, why?
I know. Here's the thing, though. I mean, it's already starting to grow back. Like, I don't keep this clean shaven for I'm not going to keep shaving this. When I worked at Disneyland in the 90s, I had to shave every day for work, and I hated it. So this is a one-time thing. You'll be able to track the progress on the show as it grows back. So don't worry, it won't be gone too long.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's see. Scott's a good guy. Looking forward to hearing his thoughts. And Ordinary Joseph, and I'll set reminder for that, my dude. Yes, I believe the link's already up on the Geek Dad Life channel. So youtube.com/geekdadlife. You can set a reminder for it, or geekdad.life is the way to get there. Let's see. I see the DeLorean on your desk. Did you get the Gigawatt today? Yes, I've got the and I did a review on it, but I got the Playmobil Time Machine DeLorean. Absolutely love this one. I did not get the Gigawatt Transformers today. I don't really like the crossover Transformers. And again, I love Transformers. You can see I got a whole stack of G1s right there. But I didn't even get the Ecto 1 version. I can't remember his name now, top of my head. But yeah, so I that was a pass for me. Let's see. Pop-Up Swartz, otherwise known as Jack, one half of Jane Jack. What happened to the Unabomber? Very, very nice there, Jack. Very kind. But definitely check out his channels, Pop-Up Sports, as well as Great Tank TV.
Just like Jack, my hairline is receding. This is going this way instead.
But Jack, happy anniversary! 15 years since the first episode of the Lost Podcast with Jay and Jack.
Yeah, what are you doing? I thought he was all about watching the Padres game right now.
We're losing, so that's probably
so. I guess we're his consolation prize.
In years past, I used to let sports. I love the Padres. I'm a diehard. People like if they ask like, "What do you know about Jay?" I was like, San Diego, Ghostbuster, Padres. Like it's one of those things.
Right.
But I'm in a much better zen place when it comes to sports. I'm thankful for the great season that we have had, and if we lose today, it's okay. I'm so proud of my team. It doesn't hurt me. It's not going to hurt me anymore. James Rice says it only takes 1 week for it to be full floof again. So we'll see.
Yeah, I worked with James for years, and yeah, it comes back.
Yeah. Okay,
I feel like I should put on a mask. It's really weird looking on the screen. It catches me off guard every,
who is that?
A couple days after, yeah.
Okay, Beer Sugar out of the way. Congrats, Jay, on your 1-year anniversary. Thank you. All Music fan. I feel the same way with like Cubbies. I know out in 2 games, but that's how it goes. But I do dig the new playoff format. It's kind of neat. It's kind of bracket style. A lot of teams in, a lot of baseball over a short period of time. I know it was because of the 2020 craziness, but I kind of hope they keep it around because I do think it's a more exciting way to have baseball. And hopefully next year, the greatest player of our generation, Mike Trout, will be in the playoffs. Ralph, that's my hope. You guys are playing towards the end. I thought you guys were going to, pull it off, but
right now I am distancing myself socially from the Angels.
Why? Come on. Angels to you,
I don't want to get into politics, but our owner is a little bit of a the Angels red hat isn't the only red hat he wears.
Ooh.
The Angels.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew.
It's yikes big time. So, but
all right.
Whatever.
Gizmo, so much, man. Yeah, so definitely tune in this Sunday. Excited to hear his thoughts on Origins. 10E23 Atul, congrats, Jay, on the 1-year anniversary. Thank you. They got rained out today. So okay, so you still got time, the Cubbies. You can still make it happen with the Marlins. But the Marlins, they've only been in the playoffs twice, but they won the World Series both times. Something to be said about that. For the old Marlins. I guess they're not the Miami Marlins now. All right. Well, that's all I really have for the anniversary things. Above all else, thank you to everybody that has watched any of my videos. I think, looking at this, not that I'm a big stats person, but I think in total for the year, let me go to the whole year here, 365. We've had over 224,000 views, over 18,000 hours of watch time, over 2,400 subscribers. When I was thinking about it's because I like creating things. I like sharing things that I'm passionate about and geeky about. And and even more so with these live shows, it's spending time with my friends that I don't, maybe live near or get to see as much as I would like in real life.
Right.
So, getting to do this with you, Ralph, every single week is like, a chance to hang out with one of my good friends for, better part of coming up on 2 decades now once we pass this year mark. So, yeah, very, very thankful that the price of admission, already enjoying all of this just to be able to get to share that with friends and to be creative. But the fact that all of you have joined in for the fun for this past year has been great. And hopefully many more years to come in the Geek Dad Life world. Going back to the chat, read you loud and clear, Ralph, with you 110%. Yes, that ad we had earlier, register to vote. Let's make it happen. Brad Brooks, that's a lot of geeks. Indeed. A lot of geeks out there. Tall Man 80, I have the Playmobil as well. Great DeLorean. Displayed the NECA 35th tune, Marty and Doc with it. Decent scale. Yeah, those have started to hit toy shelves. But I've kind of been a pass on those. I don't know if you've seen those, Ralph, but they're kind of. Did you ever watch the Back to the Future cartoon?
No.
It was okay. It was kind of neat because they basically it was kind of like they had Doc Brown doing a bit of a Bill Nye the Science Guy thing as like cut segments, and then you'd actually have stories. So the thing I remember the most was that like Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown did like the cut segments and stuff like that for the show.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like that's the one thing I remember the most as a kid. And the other thing was the great McDonald's toys that they made for the Back to the Future animated series. I think, I have one right here. This Doc Brown. Let me actually stop the share screen here so we can get closer. Let me go even closer. There we go. This McDonald's giveaway Doc Brown was a favorite of mine as a kid, and it had one of those little sparkers, if you go really fast, and I don't know if it still works. We can see. There you go. It's still spark in it. So I love this McDonald's giveaway. It's like they did cool stuff back in the day. This one's one of my favorite from a kid. Being a kid.
I was like the Fraggle Rock eggplant.
Yes, the Fraggle Rock ones are great.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is NECA still making? Yes, they are making those Back to the Futures. Sconti, put your hand behind it. You're right. I'm sorry, Ralph. I don't know if you watched our PulseCon coverage, but we made fun of how whenever they showed a toy on screen, they would put their hand behind it. I guess to let you focus on the toy. Anyway. Let's see. Anything else here? Mariana says, I agree about the Playmobil DeLorean. Looks good, but I want to get the Transformer DeLorean. Yeah, I don't know. Did it sell out? I think it showed up on Amazon today, so hopefully everybody got them that wanted to get them. Ralph, anything of geeky note that you want to share today?
Well, what's funny is we have been gone we took you last week off. Yep. I had a project I was working on, which I know you're excited about. Can't talk about it yet. Can't talk about it yet. It's done with the exception of one shot, and that'll be up on Thursday, a week from tomorrow. But you would think it would be, 2 weeks worth of stuff would be like flooding in, and there's like really not too much to talk about, with kind of Hollywood sort of shut down, movies sort of being shut down. We're just getting a lot of, we're getting a lot of casting news. So it was announced a little while back that Aldous Hodge, from Hidden Figures and Straight Outta Compton, is going to be joining Black Adam as Hawkman. I'm not familiar with his work, but I looked at him and he looks like he would make a great Hawkman. If you go online, there's some people who do the Photoshop stuff and like what he look like as Hawkman. He looks cool. I'm excited. I mean, just seeing Hawkman in a movie is great. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm pretty excited about that. Yeah, there's something about him. He's got a real nice sort of regal face. Something about it.
It's the cow face. It's like what's the nose down? And yeah, definitely for sure.
Cool. So I'm excited about that just because I loved Shazam. Shazam's still probably my favorite comic book movie of all time. I love it. I love it so much. And this is going to be part of that universe. And it's going to be great to see The Rock as Black Adam. So very, very, very excited. I can't wait to see Shazam and Black Adam finally come together.
Yes.
So yeah. So really, really excited about that. There is more casting news over on the Disney Plus Marvel side. Iman Vellani has been cast as Miss Marvel, which is pretty cool. My wife has read Miss Marvel. I have not. She said the book is phenomenal. So if they just take this phenomenal book and translate it into a Disney Plus series, I think it's going to be really, really great.
She seems really young. So is that is she kind of like one of the Spider-Man teenage superhero kind of stuff? Or?
Yeah, she's young, and she actually looks young. I don't know how old she is, but she definitely looks the part. So this is the character is Kamala Khan, a Pakistani American teenager. Will be portraying the first Muslim superhero.
That's awesome.
So that's cool. I'm very excited about it. She looks like a teenager, so it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see, a teenager being thrown in. I mean, we've seen Peter Parker done so many times.
Yeah.
And even Tom Holland maybe looks older than the age he's playing.
He's probably it's looking one, and he's still in his 20s, So
yeah. Cool. But she I don't know how old she is, but she legitimately looks like a kid.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It'll be interesting to see what they have her do.
Well, the thing that I think is interesting too with that, her being so young here, but the thing is, like, there is that when you cast a younger person that's probably pre-adult or adolescent, that there is a growth spurt that generally comes. Right. It's Stranger Things or something like that. But still, I think, if you're filming it and taking account for that, I think it could be a really
compelling Shazam. Those kids in Shazam are like, at that DC fandom, those kids are now grown up.
Yep.
So
yeah,
that'll be interesting. A couple of this next thing, I don't know if this is something that is it's just something I'm looking forward to. I'm not going to say it's necessarily geek related.
Yeah.
But today there was a trailer for Borat on Amazon Prime. And I mean, I'm fired up.
The world needs Borat right now.
like, yeah, it's not necessarily geek related, but I guess it can be.
Yeah.
But I used to love the Ali G show, and Borat is awesome, so I'm fired up for that. This is definitely geek news, though. Netflix is reportedly doing a Conan the Barbarian series.
Yes. Yeah.
And that should be interesting. I'm assuming that Netflix is going after this IP because of the success of like Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And Amazon Prime is doing a Lord of the Rings. So they're probably looking for some sort of a fantasy show that they can do that has a name recognition. Yep. And I always liked Conan. I grew up watching Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, and Conan is awesome.
Oh yeah.
Conan is an awesome movie. The second one is kind of more just a fun movie.
Yep.
It's not as serious, but I never did see the Jason Momoa, but I kind of want to see it real bad. The remake they did.
I'm dying here, but yes.
But yeah, I mean, I'll watch it. I have Netflix, but it all depends on like. Hopefully, they go with the style of sort of the Frank Frazetta art for the comic books. Yeah, like if it looks something like that, that would be awesome. Because you know Conan in the comics is crazy looking. Yeah, like he's a big white. He almost looks like a caveman. He's really just a big, massive, big, tough eyebrow looking dude. Yeah. So I mean, at the time, Arnold was probably the biggest guy to fill that role, and then Jason Momoa kind of had a better look that was closer to the comics. But I figured like maybe with the casting they could get someone like really, really, really cool to play Conan. I'll watch it, but that I think is all the news for the last 2 weeks.
It's good news.
Yeah, but it's mostly casting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's about all you can have right now.
Warner Brothers released their slate of movies, and they're all coming out next year. Yeah. So your Wonder Woman's and all that other stuff, it's all next year. We have time. Any word on Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Nothing yet, but my guess is they'll push it some more from March if I had to guess, but we'll see.
Right.
We'll see. Right. Theaters are opening up in North Carolina this weekend, I think, because we're under 5 cases per 100,000 people or something like that. So I think we're hitting whatever threshold they said. But going back to the chat, I have to call out this person here, Hub Ridgell. He was my guitar teacher from 10 years old till I moved to Raleigh, North Carolina. So 10 years or more than 10 years. A minute. It was a while. So everything I know and can play on like being a good guitarist is because of Hub. And so I don't know if he's still watching, but shout out to you, Hub. So much of what you taught me as a guitarist, I still hold in my head to this day. So it's the teachers, you know, they kind of teach you those things. And whether it is something you learn in school or, you know, learned on the guitar. There we go. Or learned on the guitar. It's all because of Hub. So thank you, Hub.
We're not going to get flagged, are we? Play something so good. Play something so good. Play some music from The Mandalorian and get squashed.
Anything Disney, no, it's going to get hit. But Hub knows, like, my dream as a kid was to own a Les Paul. And look at Hub. I got a Les Paul. I did it. Anyway. Anywho. Even though I also love Fenders too, so don't get me wrong. I love Strat styles, Les Paul styles. I'm all inclusive. All guitars have a different sound to offer. Let's see. Was Old School Shinobi was really hoping for Schwarzenegger to come back for the long rumored King Conan. You think he'll come back?
I mean, I feel like if he did, it should have been like 1989.
Yeah.
I think that would have been like the best. I think he's long past. There was a trailer came out today called Iron Mask with him and Jackie Chan, and it looks like they're both in it for like one scene and like a flashback. It does not look good, and it's like he's I don't know.
He's like a bajillion years old, isn't he?
Yeah, he's almost like a parody of himself now, and I think he's supposed to be doing some TV show. coming up.
I never saw the new Terminator, like the latest reboot that had
Dark Fate.
Yeah,
it was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't the big return of Terminator that you want.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
It didn't show that way in the box office as well. So he is 73. 73. He looks pretty good for in his 70s, you know?
Yeah. Sure.
There was a stat I saw today about Mick Jagger, who's also in his 70s, that his youngest great-grandchild is oldest than his youngest child. Mick Jagger.
Okay.
So he has a great-grandchild that is older than his youngest child.
Crazy.
Great-grandchild.
That's too much.
I got
down.
I have 2 kids. That's enough for me. I'm good. But I guess if you're like, you know, a bajillionaire, it doesn't matter. You can have like, you know, nannies and people to help you with your kids. I don't, so I'm out at 2. I've done it too.
All right.
Let's see. PD Dub says he liked Dark Fate, so you know, there's fans out there.
It's all right. Yeah.
That's what I heard. I heard like it was good. That's it.
Yeah.
Not much more to add there. Outrageous. The Arnold disrespect is gross.
No, listen, we're talking about current Arnold. I love Arnold movies. But his comeback hasn't been great. Last Stand was good. I like Last Stand. Mm-hmm. And then there was a couple other that kind of popped up here and there, but they're not great.
Last Stand, the Christian Bale one?
No, Last Stand is a movie where he's the sheriff.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Arnold. Yeah.
Harrison Ford is 78. 78. Scott, put that out there.
Make another Indiana Jones.
I don't think it's going to happen at this point.
I think I think I would be okay with it just to kind of if they're able to redeem themselves from Crystal Skull, cool, awesome. But I don't need to see it being beaten to the ground. I really don't.
Yep. Yeah, I think once they lost Steven Spielberg, I was like, why do it now? I don't know,
And the thing is, what year is it going to take place in? The 70s?
Yeah.
The 80s? Can he go see Raiders of the Lost Ark in the next movie? I don't know. It's weird. It doesn't.
You have Wonder Woman 84 and Indiana Jones 85.
He goes watches Temple of Doom. Don't. I don't know, man. I don't think you can do it. You got to bring up his age. It's so specifically set in specific time periods.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't make it set. He's already done it in the 50s. Even if you say it's the 60s, really? Is the dude going to be doing that in the 60s? It's no.
And what thing does he try to find or do in the 60s? You know, like what is the like could it be interactive? If you just go to Woodstock, is there like an arc under the stage at Woodstock or something?
I don't know.
What can he do
just,
at this point?
I don't like it.
Oh man. All right. Well, as we get to the rounding out the end of this show, I did want to just quickly share the first ever trailer I made. And when I kind of first came with the idea for this channel, I thought it was going to be a lot more of like hanging with my kids and stuff like that. But then YouTube kind of changed the rules about having kids on your show. So then it became much more dad heavy than kids and the dad, but they still do make appearances from time to time. Like Alex just made an appearance in my review of the Spangler's new Tron wand, which was fun, which he loves this thing. He's playing with it all.
I have to watch it still.
It's right there. Check it out. We're live right now. It's on the channel. See, but let's go and play the original trailer, which basically I had to just pull clips There we go.
Hello, everybody.
We'll skip the ad right there. But here we go. And it used the song that I knew was going to be the theme for Geek Dad Life. And it was actually a theme song from a podcast that I was going to do with my friend David Varnado, who I worked with at Apple. And he was a co-founder of Tragic Hero Records. So if you like kind of metal core, hard metal music, it's a label that has actually had some pretty big bands in it. But anyway, he's made a lot of friends in the industry, has friends over at Noise Club, which is a relatively well-known like music writing, producing team. And the podcast name originally was going to be I'm Not Okay, But I'm Okay With That. That was the title of our podcast that we were going to do. It never got off the ground, but he asked his friend to make a song for it. And it was an awesome song. Like, we both loved the theme song. And 10 years went by. And when I was thinking about what kind of theme song could there be for Geek Dad Life, that song was just kind of in my head just because it had that sequence of like, dun, 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 and it just kind of matched up with Geek Dad Life. And that's just how I was like, this song would be perfect for it. And I kind of like the idea of, even though the lyrics in the song are I'm not okay, but I'm okay with that, don't say Geek Dad Life anywhere. I kind of like the idea of the theme song being its own song, like maybe some other TV shows have had in the past. And I kind of like the theme of I'm not okay, but I'm okay with that. A little bit of just like being a parent, trying to get by, all that kind of stuff. I thought it did kind of hit home there. So this is the first trailer that I put together with the full Geek Dad Life theme song titled I'm Not Okay, But I'm Okay With That, written by David Varnado and Noise Club. Echo Park, Chicago, and Little Lex. So there you go. Let me pause that now. I love that song though. It's such a good song. I don't know. What are your thoughts there as a song fan?
No, I like it. I like it a lot. In fact, I think it was last episode you didn't use that song. And I was like, oh man, I missed the song. It was a different song, right?
Green Geeks.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it because in Toy Geeks, I don't use the Geek Dad Life theme. It's its own song. It's this one. And so I figured for Screen Geeks, it would have its own. But if you want to go back,
no, I just like the Geek Dad Life song.
It is good.
Yeah.
But we haven't gotten to do it yet, but I do have a couple other little sound bites. I'm gonna be putting more in as time goes on. But what I should have done for seeing you without a beard for the first time, it should have been.
You could use that for when I ask if you've done that Boba Fett review yet. And have you watched Bill and Ted 3 yet? There you go. Dude, I love Star Wars. I don't like when I first saw Revenge of the Sith and he said no, I had no problem with it. It was so Universal Monsters Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. Like I was like, this is great. I know. And then today I saw that I saw the news that oh my god, that Black Series Jar Jar Binks is coming.
Yes, it's already sold out at Hasbro Pulse.
I'm like, I feel like unless it's Bosk, it would probably Jar Jar would be like the one I would first get. It
looked great.
Black Series. It looked really good.
Yeah, it's a deluxe figure.
I've been enjoying the prequels. a lot more lately.
I'm with you. Post Disney Plus getting to watch them again and not having the cynicism that kind of tainted them. I do think they hold up pretty good.
They had like 17 years to wait for them to happen, and it took another 17 years to kind of cool off on them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
to get rid of the expectation, like there was just so much built up expectation that, to your point, I think it is like 17 years of just like cooling off of maybe all of your preconceived notions and expectations and just watching them without that, whatever.
People were posting on Twitter their 4 favorite Star Wars ships.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 of mine were from 77 Star Wars, which is the Y-Wing, the Tantive 4, and the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
But my 4th pick was the Naboo Starfighter, because I love the Naboo Starfighter, which is crazy that I picked 4 ships from 77 and then episode 1 ship.
All the Naboo spacecraft is fantastic. And
that Naboo Starfighter,
based it off of the old classic cars of the 50s. I mean, it was graffiti yellow.
It looks so amazing. Seriously, I would want one. They look so slick. They look like the coolest hot rod ever.
Mm-hmm.
That's my 2 cents about the Naboo Starfighter.
Scott T says, I saw a Black Series Bosk at a local store today. I believe, is it hard to find? At first it was, but then Hasbro did like a re-release of
Just
Bosk.
say it's hard to find so I don't buy one.
It's hard to find, Ralph. You'll never find one.
Okay, cool. I'm good.
Hey, Jake, we'll do that again, but this time, which is your favorite Star Wars fig? Both of your favorite Star Wars figure.
Oh,
please do that.
I'm trying to remember. I think I might know this. Didn't we talk about your favorite Star Wars figure?
I don't know if we have we?
I don't know. I know mine is Bosk, and then I had the Millennium Falcon carrying case from 97 or 96 or whatever.
It was 9.
And that came with a card that was cut out of the shape of the cockpit, and in that was Wedge Antilles.
Yep. Finally got a Wedge. Wedge.
That's my dude.
My favorites always, from kid to now, and I don't have
the Peter Venkman.
But was C-3PO, which I'm sitting up here.
Just the regular one?
This is the pull apart one.
Yeah. That one's awesome. With the little vinyl backpack that you can put on Chewbacca. Dude, that is dope. Yeah, that's a really good toy.
It's a great toy. But mine that I had as a kid was the first one, not the pull apart one. And I still have that C-3PO. It's in my case over there with my R2-D2 from when I was a kid.
I have one in my thing. I think it's time I should get another figure. I need to start hunting.
It's been a minute. It has been a minute for you.
Man, it's been a while.
But yeah, so C-3PO and the R2-D2. I had the telescoping or whatever that little telescope thing was on the top of it, which was the second version of the R2-D2.
Like a periscope.
Telescoping
periscope.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Those two, I don't know, just the robots. I was young. I first saw Star Wars. It was a taped version from HBO that my dad Jack taped off of TV. I mean, how many movies did we watch that was taped from HBO or something like that?
Yeah, that's why we remember that opening.
Right?
That HBO opening, right? Yeah. We're flying over the city into the space, and then the HBO comes flying in, or it goes through the O.
You know what's crazy about that HBO opening? Is they did a making of documentary.
Right. Yeah, I've seen it. It's on VHS.
Yeah, and they've added it to their YouTube page, which is kind of cool.
They need to put it on HBO Max.
Well, it's just go on YouTube. You can watch it right now. Mm-hmm. But the That's HBO so awesome. Intro is one of the greatest things of the 80s. I think it could be it's easily in the top 10 of greatest things on a screen in the 1980s. It's just so fantastic. I might have to. I think
it's because it was an event. The way it was set up, it was such an event. because you really didn't have a guide unless you have a TV guide and knew what was coming up or whatever. But just seeing that happening and then say you can feature presentation and you're just like, oh, here comes the movie. I'm able to watch a movie at home. Like that was hard to remember. But yeah, go ahead. Hopefully we don't get dinged on it. Oh, this is the making of.
No, this is the full intro.
Oh. Yeah, I just remember the part of the city. It was a model. It's a big giant model. There it is. This music reminds me of Time Bandits. It is. Do you know who did this music? They still use versions of this song. There it goes, going to O. Yeah.
So good. Like, how do you not just be like so pumped up to watch a movie on TV?
I'm ready to watch Beastmaster right now.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so if you go to HBO's YouTube channel, they have the making of that sequence. So I'm working on a new logo for Screen Geeks, and a little bit of spoiler alert, like I want to incorporate something from that old HBO
cable,
something. Don't know how it's gonna. Maybe it's not on here on the front page, but if you search for it, they have the making of, and all of that stuff from Lovecraft Country is awesome. By the way, I don't know if you're watching that on the.
I'm not.
But anyway. They did like all of that was all practical effects. So like the burst effects and everything, even the like when you're going in the O of the HBO, they did it by having fiber optic cables in those different colors and then spun it around, and they filmed it at a certain frames per second to make it capture like the effects. So none of that is computer animation or even drawn animation. It's actual real practical effects that they filmed and like put in there. So the HBO that's floating out of the sky, they made like a chrome HBO that they show that's moving in, like they were doing a spaceship in Star Wars or something.
It's got to be sitting in someone's office.
Right? It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Colleen said, Tatis 3-run homer. All right, let's make it happen, Padres. Let's make it happen. 6-5. All right. Mayor should come. Oh my gosh, I've totally forgotten the HBO intro. It was glorious.
Yeah.
Right, I feel pumped up now. I feel like I can go for like a run.
I'm literally going to go put on Beastmaster right now.
Yeah. All right, well, Ralph, I can't think of any better place to close this one out tonight. Thank you again, Ralph, for joining me and being a part of the Geek Dad Life family of shows. And anybody that wants to follow any of your fantastic stuff, where can they find that? And where this thing that you did work on last week at Casino Skunk will be on your YouTube page of the trailer?
No.
Okay. All right. But
it'll be on a different page. I don't want to spoil anything.
So
I don't know who's out there listening.
Notified then. Where can we be notified when it happens?
You can follow at Casino Skunk. You'll definitely be notified. And also, just so there's like an extra plug. I acquired a couple of these tapes today from a relative.
Yep.
And it's stuff taped off TV in like the 80s and 90s. Yeah. So I popped this open today. And the very first commercial I came across was a Pizza Hut stuffed crust pizza ad with the current president of the United States.
What?
And his then wife. So that's on, if you go to it came from the VCR.com, which will take you to the VHS Dude web YouTube page, youtube.com/VHS Dude. I posted like, I think 5 or 6 commercials today, and tomorrow I'm going to start plowing through and just adding all these crazy commercials. So Budweiser frogs. There was a Tostitos commercial with Chris Elliott. So I'm going through and I'm finding weird stuff. I'm hoping for some really cool like toy commercials. But we'll see.
It'd be like Saturday morning cartoons or something. Get a toy commercial, right?
Right, but I don't know. I have no idea. I have like a bag full of these tapes, and my lighting isn't very good. But this is like the brownest '80s brown that ever lived.
I love that.
So, yeah, look forward to that at VHS Dude.
Problem with a lot of tapes that I have found in the South is a much more humid climate, and tape mold is far more prevalent here. So whenever I have found taped off TV stuff, it has little white mold on them. Like, I'm not bringing that home, even though I want to. It's just the stuff out there in the Southwest United States holds a lot better because it's a lot drier.
Right.
Anyway, well, that is. Oh, the Padres must have just done something. Oh, we tied it up. Oh,
there you go. Go watch the game. Let's wrap it up. Go watch the game.
There we go.
Oh, now we're gonna get dinged for sure.
The grounds crew is rowdy. Tatis dialed in.
All right.
All right.
I'm sure they're gonna kick us off anyway. So go watch the game.
All right. I'm going to go watch the game. Everybody, thank you for having a great year. Geek Dead Life, here's to another great year. And we'll see you next Thursday with Ralph and I. And until then, hasta luego and goodbye.
Congrats, dude.